Good morning, and welcome to another one of Drew's Book Reviews. So, today's book review is going to be on The God Delusion by Richard Dawkins. Now, as many know, Richard Dawkins is probably one of the most famous atheists around the world. Evolutionary biologists, I understand, by trade. So, it's not very often I read a non-fiction book. So this was certainly one that I was interested in reading, especially coming from a religious background in which I was raised. So Richard Dawkins really goes through and explains a lot about his feelings on religion and his attitudes towards it, which many already know are pretty much. He is very much an anti-theist, very much against religion, and certainly does not believe in a god or gods out there. So he puts forth numerous different arguments against the case for the existence of a supreme being and God. Um, Now, if there are people out there that are questioning their faith, this is perhaps a book that you should read to get a good idea of the other side of the coin, so to speak, and where others are coming from with respect to their their position of there being no God. And for those that are already atheists or don't believe in a god or gods, this is certainly a good read. I think you'll find that there's a lot that you'll agree with, a lot of different perspective for those that might not have heard the atheist argument before, but for those that already are atheists, definitely. I think you're probably going to find that there's a lot in there that you perhaps already agree with, or perhaps even he framed it in a different way than you were otherwise expecting. Overall, I have to say though, I did enjoy the book absolutely, and certainly from a philosophical standpoint, very good read. Now, it's certainly uh, not so much written in an extremely simplified way. It is definitely written in a very scholarly way, as far as the writing style, referencing many different works. Some things I had to quickly take a look into myself to get a better understanding or grasp of what he was referring to. Now, when I picked this book up, I was already coming from a perspective of someone who was raised religiously and left that religion. So I certainly had an interesting viewpoint on coming to being uh, in a position that one would call an atheist or not believing in God. Now, I think in my experience, I've found that a lot of people are in the same kind of position I am, in that you were raised in this religious household, this religious culture, and became atheist coming out of that religious indoctrination. And Richard Dawkins touches on that as well, and how he'd gone to religious schools and was raised in a religious culture. Now, much of his argument comes from the evolution of species and Darwinism, is what he uses to support his position in many cases here, versus the idea of creationism and how the ideas behind creationism is simply wrong, and versus evolution. What I also really like is he tackles the idea of getting our morals from the Bible. And he goes over numerous examples within the Bible, everything from Abraham sacrificing his son Isaac to the story of Lot and his daughters, and numerous other examples of extremely outrageous and immoral behaviors, things that we would find repulsive in the modern era and just absolutely evil in the modern era, were considered acceptable in the times that the Bible was written, or we would honor those as people of God and things like that. So it really goes into that and explaining how any getting your morals from the Bible is a really poor choice from his perspective. And he puts forth the argument that if we need God to be good, then you're not really a good person because you're not being good for good's sake. And if you can be good without God, then why God? So really good arguments there that I found really interesting. And certainly for someone who is already kind of leaning towards the same kind of position as Richard Dawkins, this will definitely seal the deal for you. Overall, it was an enjoyable read, a good scholarly read, and I think it's a recommended read for anybody out there who is either religious or not religious. It's always good to have both sides of the coin. Now, I certainly had a lot of the religious side of the coin, and I'm reading more about the other side of the coin now. Recommend it, absolutely. It was a decent and enjoyable read, and I hope that you enjoyed this review. So, as always, don't forget to comment, like, subscribe below, and also, of course, stay tuned for the next book up. Will be Raymond Feist, Daughter of the Empire. So definitely stay tuned for that. Thanks again for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this review. You have yourself a great day.